Hi, I'm Akara.
And I'm Rohan Nahar.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the new Mission Impossible movie, the eighth one in the title series called The Final Reckoning. Naturally, it stars Tom Cruise in the lead and a bunch of other faces who are not really that old at this point. Some of them are like from the beginning, but some of them are really new and you may or may not know them. But it turns out it doesn't really matter because Tom Cruise is mostly in like every frame of the film. Yeah.
Possible, yeah, except for that bit where Simon Pegg is like made in charge and he has to do stuff.
Oh yeah, like when they go to that St. Matthew's Island, whatever, to like figure out stuff. Those scenes he's not there because that becomes like a intercut thing. But otherwise, like he's the guy. Watch him. No one else matters.
Yeah, no one else matters. And this one is almost like what we complain about. I mean, first, let me say that I liked this much more than the previous one, which was not a good movie.
Oh, interesting. This is gonna be a good discussion then.
Yeah, the last one was, I felt just too much, too verbose.
Okay.
And especially coming after like Fallout, which was just like pure action spectacle.
Mm.
It might be just, uh, what you go in expecting and then you're let down. You can't really. I struggle to kind of deal with the movie on its own terms because it wasn't aiming for Fallout. It was very much its own beast, but I felt that it was too exposition-y, too talky, uh, very silly, but very serious about it. All those issues.
Mm.
But this one I liked more because it was, yes, again too talky, etc., etc. But then at least it had like a couple of incredible action scenes. And I followed, which I
You know
didn't
what?
in
Like
the previous.
freelance that reckoning. Like I still remember the Rome one quite vividly. Um,
The car
I-
chase,
yeah, the car chase through Rome.
that was pretty standard. Yeah,
Okay. And
there was a
then
better car chase in Macquarie and Cruise's first movie together, Jack Reacher.
sure, like I mean, yeah, like by in that regard, I would say actually this franchise itself, like 4, 5, and 6 are better than 7, 8.
Yeah, for sure. 4, 5, and 6 are better than 7, 8. I'm personally a huge fan of 3.
Oh
But
wow, okay. But that needs to be in a whole episode, Roland.
yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of 3 because that's the one where, with Philip Seymour Hoffman and actual emotional stakes, which the franchise has been kind of struggling with ever since because
How do you feel about the movie mining that movie then emotionally for its
that has no option, nah? Because never in its like whatever 30-year journey has there ever been actual human emotional stakes, and it keeps bringing
so why like brought
the
her back for like 5 minutes in Fallout?
exactly. Or option ही नहीं है because every two movies there's like new characters around him and then they forget कि वो
Or they
था
keep
and
like
then
killing them or they keep leaving, right? Like in 3 itself, is the 3 the one where like who's that face from the Americans? Why am I forgetting her name?
yeah, you're right, Kerry Russell, yeah.
Yeah, she's just like killed off in the beginning or something, right? Of the movie.
She's but that's by design. But what about
Oh
the
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
the drunk, no, I'm sorry, मतलब not that guy. The team में जो एक बंदा है, the brash guy,
Yeah.
he disappears. Jeremy Renner disappears.
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy disappears that we could discuss why that happened. But that's again like a separate episode.
Correct. But the movie isn't the franchise isn't like really very reverential, ironically, because of what it does in this one. It's not really very reverential to the past, right? इसमें they kind of do
But
that
like it feels weird because like movie starts off with almost like a backwards.
sizzle reel.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, wouldn't you want to do this at the end? Like you do a swan song and like pay tribute to everyone who's with the movie. You do it at the beginning.
हाँ, मतलब just to be like, which I hated in Spectre also, right? Spectre was like terrible movie, where they tried to kind of play the same trick on us, कि हाँ, everything is connected, whatever. It, I don't know why they keep doing this, but they made the same mistake with the first Dead Reckoning also, where they said, नहीं, Dead Reckoning Part 1 है, which is also a big mistake, which they've
Yeah.
kind of retconned now.
Yeah. Like never
Uh,
call your movie, I think, part one. I like that. Like just do it like Star Wars. Like make the movie, release it, call it Star Wars, and then 3 years later be like, हाँ वो part one था. If your part two plans work out, because it didn't work out, right? The part two plan like backfired. They were like, no one's going to watch part one. I don't know what we're doing. Part two is not coming back to back. They thought it was gonna come in like 1 year. It took like 2 or 3 years, whatever. So nothing really worked out in the way, and then you're just sort of doing damage control versus like just do the George Lucas thing.
yeah. No, but what was your question? What was I saying where when we got sidetracked?
I feel like we did the Trump thing. We went from a tangent to a tangent to a tangent. Um, But I think we started obviously by saying you were inspired by saying that you like this one more than the previous one, the final beginning, more and beginning.
हाँ
And I guess we're going down that thought array.
चलो forget it, doesn't matter. But yeah, the thing about this one is that they've sold it like final chapter and all that, but it's so obvious at the end that Tom Cruise is like, over my dead body, will you take this away from me? You know, because they had an opportunity to kill him, and then they were like, no, 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 of course he survived. Which I was fully prepared when he's like doing the whole pen drive thing on like in midair while falling, that this is the end.
Yeah,
But
see, when like his parachute like burns, you're like they're giving you like another sign, like okay, oh my god, like parachute's burning, and then no, here's a backup parachute.
yeah, which is okay. Let me get started on this then. There is a backup parachute, right? This movie is like an Abbas Mustan movie because there,
It's a once again, let me fix that
huh.
thing. It's a refined Abbas
And
Mustang.
let me fix it further. It's the kind of movie that Abbas Mustan would rip off. Like they would watch this and they would like be salivating.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Like we think we can do this, and then what would they would make would pair in comparison to the
correct. But this is exactly like this is the blueprint of a
yeah.
because everyone.
Yeah.
So this movie is so Hindi movie that matlab every 5 seconds somebody is like, oh my god, Ethan, you are like the best human man in the world. You are the greatest.
Yeah.
We complain so much about like random Shahid Kapoor movie में उसका एक henchman होता है मतलब जो उसका hype करते रहता है. But this is everybody exists in this movie to be like.
Everyone's hyping him.
The movie literally opens with like the president giving a speech about Ethan.
Yeah.
What a gene.
Ethan, please come home.
And then there's the Karwa Chauth scene, which I've already decided I want to call it, where Italy Atwell is like, oh my god, so much power. If there was one man in the world, it is you. You are the only भाई तू उसको पिछले महीने मिल.
I'm like, why? Like, why can't he just be normal and be like, it makes sense to destroy it? Why does he have to be the only one in the movie? Like, that's the issue, I think, is that they have decided for some reason, as like the writing team, is that Ethan can be the only one who believes that destroying the entity is the correct move. Everyone else, for some reason, is not on board with that plan.
Sure, I buy that. But the thing is that Ethan initially believes that इसको destroy करना चाहिए because nobody can be trusted with this, which I buy. Right? Because he's seen like people, again, Abbas Mustan thing, like friends turn to foes turn to friends, and after a point you'd forget like who's what. Like Shea Begum is again. Am I supposed to, is he the villain? Is he your friend? I don't know anymore. But then yes, he's
Which like plays into like a spy movie thing, right? Because you never when you step into a scene, you're never sure who's on which side, like which benefits any sort of spy movie.
yeah. And plus they have like they don't have plastic surgery here, but they do have the mask, so it's the same thing. It's one
But which surprisingly, which they never use in one movie for the first time. Maybe?
once they do. When Paris go, I don't know where it is, but the French assassin woman they kind of rescue, and she's being taken by
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah. It's in some Austrian prison.
yeah, and then it's like Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg are there, but it's very quick. It's not like done like the what was that one, the Russia one, where the whole scene is built around.
Yeah, which is very elaborate. Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Or even like the one where they go to like the Italy. I think it's just fifth or fourth. I forget now.
Italy was the Italy the third one में भी जाते हैं. I don't know.
Okay, whatever. We can
Yeah. But anyway, where was I? There is so much stuff in this movie where you're like, एक second, वो क्या हुआ? And then even though people are like explaining to you what the plot is every like 3 times they do it. Oh, so you mean we have to go there and then you have to do this and then you have to do
and just to make sure that you are following someone who is like lower in the priority in that scene, who like doesn't know as much, who can't keep up, like Degas, CIA henchman, like dude, he will be like, haha. So we're gonna do this just to like confirm and like tell the audience, like in case you didn't follow,
So
in case you were looking.
I mean,
this
जितना भी Tom Cruise says, big screen movie theater experience, what he's essentially doing is Netflixization his franchise, right? Which is my theory is that because now you understood that the majority of the revenue that you're going to make from this movie is from like international, probably non-English speaking countries, your script needs to be simple enough for the dumbest folks to understand. Now, dumbest भी क्या ही बोल रहा हूँ.
Yeah, which is why like they're scared that from the first time they're laying out their plan, it contains like Podkova and Entity and like some Sevastopol thing, and they're like, no one's able to follow that, so we need to say it twice.
3 times, sometimes 5, and multiple times. So it's not like they've laid out the plan once.
Yeah, but like that reference of like, you know, like they love bringing my old actors as like of that legacy thing. So that guy from like the first Mission Impossible shows up now in the Arctic Circle or whatever, and then uska backstory is mentioned like twice. I'm like, no, I got it. Just like skip it over, so then you can pretend like, you know, he kept told him and he told him, but like don't repeat it for me. Why are you showing me the knife again? It literally he passes on the knife as if like that meant something.
What's this?
That is a random knife he dropped in the first movie. No one cares.
Yeah, and why does this dude have it? Isn't that like some sort of like
Yeah,
evidence?
why does he have it for 36 years? Like, if he had it, the only reason he would have had it is like a grudge, you know, like I must kill this guy. But he doesn't feel that. If anything, he says that his life has actually benefited.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And not only do they like mention it 5 times in the script, they also, this entire movie, it keeps like doing a very Bollywood thing again. Is like, do you remember that guy? And then the movie will cut to that guy.
Yeah. Gosh. It's like they don't, like they're scared. Like at one point, those are studio note stuff, right? Like studio people saw it and they were like, no, no, no. But we can't pretend that people have seen the previous 7 movies, which is the same logic why horror stopped using numbers, right? They never want to use the numbers in the titles because they're scared that if you put like a huge number, people be like, oh my God, I need that much homework. I'm not showing around. So that's why they use titles. They use like final reckoning. They don't, no one says Mission Impossible 8.
No, but what I don't understand is this franchise has never been really beholden to the past. So अब जाके क्यों करना है तुम्हें? Just pretend like this was a
Just let people, yeah, the people who know, like good for them. People who don't know, it's fine. Why don't need to?
yeah.
This literally showing sometimes scenes from Dead Reckoning. I'm like, that was 2 years ago. That movie people must have seen if they're showing up for this one because this is a continuation of the story. Like, if you literally Sevastopol is the first movie, why would
Yeah. Full repetition होता है कि अच्छा this Russian submarine did this. That's like the opening of the
they fired a, like that was the previous movie opening. It wasn't like 10 years ago.
हाँ, but this reminded me how much
That is full studio note stuff. Like that feels like stuff, you know, like Paramount was like, नहीं 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 लोगों को नहीं समझेगा. Please डाल दो, please
No,
डाल
but
दो.
then it also validates my feelings about Dead Reckoning. It is so impossible to follow and such a poor, like, there was no villain. There was this weird entity that nobody understood. The movie didn't do well, like, at the box office, and sure, there are theories about that. It got great reviews, right? But then the overall sense was, whatever. At least my general feeling was, मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आया. I didn't enjoy myself. And everything that you see in this movie, which feels like a retcon, which is all these, over explanation, flashbacks, spoon feeding, is like a way to kind of rescue whatever original script that they had, which was similar in tone to Dead Reckoning. You can't have that again because nahi like I did not understand it. That movie. What was the issue?
Surprisingly, I didn't have that issue. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I guess it's depends on where the focus was going. I think I was being carried through the film, through its like whatever. Like, it's almost like was a mystery be getting unpacked, right? It was almost like what
At one
choosing.
point, the
That's what-
AI throws a party, no?
It
To
was
lure
that I don't remember.
the AI throws a party to lure Tom Cruise, and then the AI speaks to Tom Cruise, and it's like a screensaver. Like all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And abhi bhi,
All the stuff I have forgotten.
abhi bhi screensaver hai. Abhi bhi in this movie, so it's a screensaver. The AI.
Which is why, like, you know, like what I would have preferred is just like do the her thing, you know, like have the AI speaking through a human, like put them in like their ear. I mean, like I am the body, like make it cinematic.
Which is Gabriel, right?
Be like put in a box. Yeah, which was Xavier, but now he's been disowned. So we need like a new body, but find someone like, you know, AI pick someone else, you know, like person of interest there. Like AI always has like some face, like it makes it cinematic. Like this whole like he goes in some empty box and as you said, screensaver thing for like 5 minutes and he zaps him like a million times. I'm like, kya ho raha hai? This is like Emperor Palpatine minus the Emperor.
It was so bad, that scene in which he goes into this dabba and like basically has like a
Yeah.
phone conversation.
That is like that's not the Mission Impossible I knew. I was like, what happened to McCoy? Yeah, you know, these are they essentially rescued the series at some point, and now you're saying that they're like they be blamed for like excess. Essentially, the movies are excess at this point. Dead Ring and both Final Reckoning is almost like they're doing too much. Like what I feel is like Mission Impossible is at the best when it's lean, when it's like, you know, these are the action scenes we want to hit, and we will loosely stitch some story to get there. But यहाँ पे they have their action thing. They're like, okay, we final thing is that plane thing. Beach में we have this like other thing with like the submarine thing, which was the great because finally no one's talking for a while. Uh, but then the rest of the movie is so bloated. Like they take so long to stitch these two parts together. I'm like, why is there so much story? Why do you need so much story? No one's asking for it. It's an action movie.
It's, I don't want to make this comparison, but it's like the fate of the Furious, this movie.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's like, because बातें तो वही है ना कि मतलब टॉम
But
क्रूज
the difference at least is that in Fast and Furious movies still believe, even though like sure Vin Diesel is the main lead and gets the most screen time, they still believe they're an ensemble movie.
they still believe they're an ensemble movie, but like Vin Diesel,
They still try to serve everyone, which is why they end up with a movie like Fate and the Furious, because they still want to give every 5-6 minutes to every character and give them one cheeky line or one cheeky scene. So it gets bloated. Here, as you just opened the podcast, we said Tom Cruise is literally in every frame. So they're not trying to serve every character. They're okay with that if Tom Clemente gets nothing, or if Nick Offerman is getting 3 minutes, or if Angela Bassett is only there to speak on the phone. They're okay with that. They expect even Simon Pegg, like one of the top 4 names, is hardly like substantial in the movie. He doesn't have an arc. He's just there.
he's made
So
like,
even if they're not being an ensemble movie, they're still bloated.
see, the Fast and Furious movies are self-aware, right? They're supposed to be funny. Everybody knows except Vin Diesel.
Yeah. Justin Lin gave them that note
Mm.
with Fast 5, and since then they've carried that through.
Whereas this one, and uh, I suppose most of these last Macquarie Mission Impossibles, they're not really funny. They're in fact getting
Yeah.
more serious as they go along.
Yeah. They've got like the reverse. It's almost like they're going, it's like in the Fast and Furious, the reverse trend. Like McQuarrie actually, when they came, they made it cheeky. 4 is so much in jokey.
4 isn't
5 has
Macquarie
that.
though.
4 is McQuarrie, no? He was like a ghost writer.
No, 4 is Brad Bird.
But I'm saying McQuarrie was involved at some level.
Oh, acha.
Like that was his gateway into the franchise, from what I know. Like those rewrites contribute to that humor, so like he introduced that at some point. But like, I'm sure Brad Bird as well as like was responsible for it.
Mm.
But like since with 5 they did that, but now like as you've said, like they've just kept getting serious and serious and more serious.
I'm like, तुम लोग पागल हो क्या?
Yeah.
तुमने हमें 10 बार explain किया है.
Yeah. And this movie is not like, like making it easy for itself at any moment. It's never like, you have like a 10-minute window. No, you have a 1-minute window. You have 30 millisecond. You pigeonholing yourself, right? I don't understand the science anyway. You can make up whatever you want. We will roll with it because this movie is anyway half fantasy at this point. So why are you deliberately telling the audience that we are only giving ourselves 1-minute window? Like, why are you doing that? Because then I'm just like, how can all of these pieces stack together in the same exact row? The pieces you just described so elegantly that all of this happens. Like it's something has to go wrong, right? Like every 10 minutes they're trying to kill Ethan Hunt and he keeps surviving. Like why are you so obsessed with making him
Who
fall?
wants to be like, Planet of the Apes or something, like कि हम full biblical metaphor करेंगे, which was there in.
Yeah, because the movie had the same like ideas was doing it 3 movies ago, in which he dives into this underwater thing and some blade is trying to cut him. And he used to rescue some like geeky nonsense thing from underground. And at the same point, Simon Pegg had to do pass some face scanner in some movie in the same scene. Like they were still doing crazy stuff, but it still felt funny because they were joking around. Bing Green was outside, and he was like, "Okay, you only have this much time," like blah blah blah. Like they were able to merge the self-aware and the serious, like the sincere, and find a middle ground. But now this is like they've pushed all to the extreme.
All to the extreme. And the most surprising thing was, so like in Harry Potter end में, like they give him the Elder Wand and Harry Potter's like, no, I don't want this, snaps it into the movies and he like chucks it off a cliff or whatever. Here in this one, Tom Cruise is like, no, you have to destroy the entity in that Karwa Chauth
Yeah.
scene. And then at the end when he gets the entity, he smiles and he's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell was that? Why is there an about turn? Why are you leaving that hanging? Actually, he should be like then the scene you just mentioned, Harry Potter, or it should be like the Star Wars like larger as scene. He gets it like, why the hell did you do this? I told you to destroy it. It destroyed it right there. Like, don't leave that.
Or
hanging.
like
Why are you leaving it?
Lord of the Rings, like just everybody knows that it's a bad sign. Like there's nothing good going to come out of this. So Tom Cruise walking away with like basically god powers is, I suppose, the only way. Mission Impossible could have ended this era of its run because मार तो सकते नहीं हो टॉम क्रूज को, वो तो allow करेगा नहीं. तो what is the other option? The other extreme end is like him basically becoming God, and there you have it. I'm like, oh my god, what did I just watch? Anyway, but if you like say it out loud, it sounds like the most stupidest thing you ever watched, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like this grand sweeping biblical epic about like humanity, free will versus choice, you know, lives of many versus the lives of few, the hard decisions that you have to make, whatever, played by the guy who is, I don't know why they try to humanize him, because I think what we like about Tom Cruise is how little in common he has with the rest of us. So we don't need emotional like anchors.
Yep.
Make him a
It's fun when he's like clinging to a biplane and the IMAX camera is in his face and you're like, oh my god, this dude is going to fall. But then you know he's not going to fall because he's strong.
yeah, if he like sprouted wings in that scene and flew, I'd be like, okay, I buy it, Tom Cruise.
Exactly, because literally the previous movie, he did almost that. He ran a bike off a mountain,
And flew.
launched a parachute, and then crashed into a train, all in the same scene. So if you have seen all that and bought all that and loved it and enjoyed it and like actually seen him do it, like why do you need to then?
That's the thing, right? Which is
anything?
why I preferred like Vin Diesel driving his car, like, and like ziplining it across two cliffs as like a cannonball thing, because then the same thing is happening in this movie, but it's like serious. The same thing is happening.
Which the only moment, like this, the moment is now reminding me the only moment the movie is slightly self-aware, where like it's the names that it always is insane. No, not the entire thing. The Haley Atwell thing when they've initially captured by Gabriel, and we see the entire action scene from her just face.
I do not remember this. What is this?
They're so then Gabriel catches them. He ties them both of them up, and
Oh
then
yeah.
Tom Cruise fakes that he has cyanide capsule.
But
They find him up. So then we just see Grace's face, and we just see him like we don't actually see him.
yeah.
See the end result.
Huh.
That is the only self-aware moment of the entire
Which
movie.
is like basically he does a Ryan Gosling in Drive, but because it's PG-13, we can't see it.
Yeah.
But even then, you know, the moment of levity that you spoke about, the premise of that scene is Tom Cruise just committed suicide. So,
Yeah.
I was like, एक second. So then I was like distracted for a minute. मतलब एक minute तो वो cyanide नहीं था clearly.
Yeah, you're like, what do I have to lose? What do you have to lose? They're losing billions of lives.
And there's like 2 hours of movie left.
Yeah, no one's buying it.
This is like when Harry Potter dies in whatever Deathly Hallows, and then you're like looking at your book and like, oh, यहाँ पे तो 300 पेज बचे हैं.
It's gonna happen. It's the guys on the title page.
Anyway, but yeah, this is not. I'm hoping that Tom Cruise becomes like this. I don't know, like an elder statesman who like sits around in the office and does things. While like,
But how can you even imagine that he would be okay with that role? You know, he's gonna be okay with that role for like 4 minutes, like in Top Gun Maverick, and then he's gonna be like, "No, I'm flying anyway."
no, but he's like 63 at the earliest. He's going to be like 68 or whatever when the next one comes out. 68 में ये सब नहीं कर रहे हो तुम.
But he'll do that between 63 and 68. No, not at 68.
At some point the studios are going to be like, we can't insure you, sir. You qualify for like pension and stuff.
Yeah, that will happen at some point. I'm sure half the budget of the movie was the insurance money.
Do you know that if Tom Cruise was like a Delhi resident under Arvind Kejriwal, he would get a free train ticket to like temples and stuff. He's that old.
He's a senior citizen. Yeah. And dude is running through an empty like London.
Which is not, see, the Fallout में जो भागने वाला sequence था was like top tier, you know.
Yeah.
This one I felt they were
यहाँ पे all
cutting
the
too
running
much.
scenes seem forced.
Hmm.
Like they seem like Cruise like saw the rushes. He's like, तुमने क्या बनाया edit screen का ही event? He's like ये दिखाया. Like 1 second. 2.5 घंटे का मूवी है इसमें running scene क्यों नहीं है? चलो हम shoot कर जाते हैं. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, but the second time he runs is he runs out of that cave in South Africa. I'm like, why are you running? This is pointless. Fallout has like too many good ones. Like I was when you started saying the sentence, I was thinking of the dive scene into Paris, and I was like, oh my god, what a scene!
The halo jump. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or even the bathroom action scene in Fallout. Oh my god.
Which is why I dislike
Great.
Dead Reckoning, man. I was like, ये सब कहाँ है? Dead Reckoning में एक
But like Fallout is like I would say like it hit the series almost like peak.
peak.
We can be talking about the best of the lot.
Yeah. But Dead Reckoning, see, the one action sequence that they kind of marketed the hell out of, the bike thing, it was kind of a whatever underwhelming when you actually watched it in the movie. Like, it was better in the trailer because I remember.
Yeah, because the scene itself is you can't make a scene out of it, right? I'm just literally driving in a straight line.
Huh.
The scene is actually three parts, as I just spoke about it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Him driving off, then using the parachute or paraglider in a way, and then crashing into the train. Like
Mm.
all of that is, and the scene is actually is intercut. Like this stuff happening with Haley Atwell in the train
Yeah, yeah.
with Gabriel.
Which,
So it's not just him. Versus the other scene we just spoke about, the hero jump or the bike scene. He's the centerpiece.
yeah. Also a consequence of the pandemic, I'm guessing. Dead Reckoning, a lot of
Yeah.
it felt green screeny, which is not, the DNA of this franchise.
Yeah, yeah. They were all like on some cruise or something, no? For 3-4 months.
This one felt more like tactile, like real and stuff. So I appreciate that.
I just want the infantry to die so we can get back to like a real human villain. Yeah, okay then. That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and Instagram at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review. That loves our episode, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening.